Jeet, and in this video we'll be doing the in-depth full review for this Moto G5 Plus, and I've been testing this device for about 9 days now, and I'll be going over the pros and cons of this Moto G5 Plus. But before that, let me actually give you a specs overview. As you can see, it's powered by the Snapdragon 625 chipset, and it comes in two variants, 3GB RAM or 4GB RAM, and it is a proper dual SIM phone with a dedicated micro SD card slot. It also has a fingerprint scanner and NFC. And before I divide this review between the pros and cons, I'll be having timestamps in the show notes so that you can jump between the various areas of this review, because this review is going to be really big, because I've made a lot of pointers and I want to share all of those things in this video. And I've already posted the unboxing and FAQ video on this Moto G5 Plus that also answers a lot of common questions that you guys were asking. Link for those videos will be there in the YouTube show notes. And also many of you were asking me to compare this Moto G5 Plus with the Honor 6X in terms of camera performance. So that is also included in this video. So let's start this review, and let's start with the pros. What are the things that I really liked about this Moto G5 Plus? And the first thing is regarding the screen quality. Yes, now the screen has sort of shrunk. It's having a 5.2-inch screen, but it's still a 1080p screen, and the screen quality is actually very good. Many of you were asking about the screen quality. I have no issues regarding the screen quality. The screen actually can go very bright. For example, as you can see, it can go really bright, and we have that auto brightness setting, and if you keep it on auto brightness setting, even outdoors the screen is easily visible. Now moving to the fingerprint scanner has actually moved to the front over here, and it is very responsive. As you can see, if you just place your finger on it, it wakes up. And you can also put the screen to standby by just pressing on that one. And the fingerprint scanner has been performing very well. I would say one of the most reliable fingerprint scanners that I have used. So no issues regarding the fingerprint scanner. Again, watch my unboxing video. This you can also opt between these virtual buttons, or just use this fingerprint scanner to control the entire device. I've covered that topic in the unboxing video, so check out that if you want to know that. Now moving to the cellular call quality, I tested this device with Airtel 4G and even Reliance Jio, and I had no problems regarding cellular connectivity with this device. The earpiece quality is good, and the cellular calls were very clear. I had no issues regarding that. Talking about the SIM slot, it is having a proper dual SIM slot that accepts nano SIM, and you can also add a micro SD card to it. So that's a very good option. And the micro SD card also supports adaptable storage, so you can use that as internal storage. That option has been provided. Regarding the SIM, many of you have asked me, the first SIM would be set to 4G, and the second SIM that you put would revert to 3G or 2G. So it's like that. So the first SIM that you put, for example, if you're going to use Reliance Jio and let's say another SIM, you have to put your Reliance Jio on the first SIM, and that will work with 4G because Reliance requires 4G, and the second SIM will now revert to 3G or 2G. So that is how the setup is there. And many of you have also asked me to test if USB OTG functionality works with this one. I did test it, and USB OTG functionality works without any issues. Now moving to the battery life, it is having a 3000 milliamp hour battery, and the battery is sealed inside. And I was worried how will be the battery life, but I'm happy to say that the battery life has been actually really good on this device, and it can easily last for a full working day. That is almost 24 hours without any issues. In my regular usage, as I've mentioned, I was using this device for the last 9 days. It was normally lasting me anywhere between 24 hours to about 36 hours. And in terms of screen on time, I was getting a screen on time between 5 to 6 hours. So in terms of battery life, you don't have to worry. Also, the charger that is supplied is a fast charger that comes inside the box. And regarding the fast charging time, when it was at 10%, I put it on charge, and after 55 minutes, I looked at it and the charge was about 75%. So it charged about 65% in about 55 minutes. But another peculiar thing that I have noticed with the charger is that it looks like the charger and the phone is detecting the ambient temperature. As it's having a fast charger, while you charge the phone, the back will get a bit warm. That is sort of normal. But when I was charging it here in my office, as you can see in my office, it's it's actually relatively cool here. It was charging pretty quickly, but when I tried to charge this one upstairs in a storeroom kind of a thing where there was not a lot of ventilation, that room is sort of hot, it was taking quite a bit of time to charge. So looks like if the phone is sort of getting heated while charging, it's reducing the charging. But fast charging is actually implemented on this device. So roughly it should take about anywhere between 1 hour 20 to 1 hour 30 minutes to charge it fully. Now moving to sensors, it has many of the sensors that you expect, like the ambient light sensor, even gyroscope is there, but sadly the compass sensor is simply not there. I'll talk about that and many of you actually asked me how would be the GPS navigation as this does not have any compass sensor. So I tested that and here is the clip. Trying the GPS test on this Moto G5 Plus as it does not have any compass. So let's see what will happen when we make an immediate turn. As you can see, we are driving, so let's test that. We are just making a turn now. Let's see if it immediately reflects
turn
on
right
the map.
onto street number 20. In 150 meters at the roundabout, take the second exit
as you
and stay
can
on
see.
street number 20.
But let's continue. Ahead there is a sort of a flyover, so the GPS connection won't be there. So let's see when we make a turn if it immediately reflects on the map. And now we're going to make a turn. As you can see, the flyover is there above us. So let's see, we're going to make a turn. Does the it shows correctly on the maps? Because it can get confused now because it will lose the GPS connection. So let's see. I'm going to make a turn now. As you can see, a U-turn.
Turn right to stay on Bade Austin Ghulam Ali Khan Marg.
And we are taking a turn. Let's see if it reflects immediately on the map. And as you can see, it is working. I'm taking the turn and it is correctly detected on the map. So general GPS navigation would run fine, I would say, but let's say you're inside a mall or something and you don't have GPS connection. Then if you just move around the phone, as it does not have the compass sensor, it will not show you if you are moving to the north or the south direction. So that is one limitation that you would have. Now moving to another thing that I've noticed is that I did test the audio from the headphone jack, and I'm happy to say that the audio from the headphone jack is actually really good. I tested it with some very high quality headphones and the output was actually good. The sound signature has a little bit of depth in it, so I really like the sound signature that I was getting from the headphone jack. I'll talk about the speaker later on. And moving to gaming, I did test this phone with quite a bit of gaming, and even I posted a dedicated gaming review with many of the heavy games like Asphalt, Mortal Kombat 5, Nova 3, and it ran most of the games without any issues. With Asphalt, yes, I noticed some minor lag here and there, but overall the gaming performance was actually good. And the good thing was that the handset did not overheat even with extended gaming. The maximum temperature that I noticed after extended gaming was about 42 degrees Celsius. Now moving to the user interface, it's almost stock Android user interface that you find on this, and also we have the Google Assistant pre-installed. So once you add your Google account, you can invoke the Google Assistant and it works. So almost stock like Android experience apart from some Motorola specific apps, so that's a good thing in my opinion. And in general day-to-day performance, I did not notice any lag whatsoever on this device. And it runs on the Snapdragon 625 chipset and it handles everything without any issues. Also, NFC support is also there on this device. Now talking about the camera, which is the highlighting point of this device. As you can see, the rear facing camera, they have a new 12 megapixel rear facing camera with f1.7 lens. Hence it gathers in a lot of light. And here are some of the sample shots. And I've already posted a camera comparison video where I compared this phone with the Moto G4 Plus and also the Redmi Note 4. Again, a link for that video will be there in the YouTube show notes. And also in that video, there are a lot of video samples and also the front-facing camera performance. So I would suggest that you watch that video to get a more idea regarding the camera performance. But as many of you have asked me, I also compared this Moto G5 Plus with the Honor 6X, and here are the samples side by side so that you can judge which one is doing a better job. pictures side by side, and this was in harsh lighting conditions. And here I feel the Moto G5 Plus produced slightly warmer colored pictures, which is more close to the reality. But in this picture, I would say the Honor 6X did a better job, and the picture is not overexposed. The G5 picture is slightly overexposed, but that G5 gets that more bokeh effect because of the f1.7 lens. This picture clearly shows you the exposure. The exposure is well done on the Honor 6X. It's not blown out slightly like the Moto G5 Plus did on the petals, but in terms of color accuracy, I feel the Moto G5 Plus has more accurate colors. Another picture that shows us that the Moto has sort of a tendency to blow up the highlights in very brightly lit up area, as you can clearly see with this picture. In terms of bokeh background blur, both of them do a fantastic job. When it comes to macro shots, I feel the Honor is doing a much better job compared to the Moto G5 Plus. The Moto G5 Plus struggles because it does not have any laser autofocusing systems, and for very close-up shots, I had to refocus it multiple times to get the shot with the Moto G5 Plus, whereas with the Honor 6X, I could get it with the first shot. Now moving to semi-indoor conditions, here I feel both of them did a very good job, but again the Honor 6X, the colors are a little bit colder to my liking. And this picture was taken in my office in very low lighting conditions. Let's actually zoom and see the results. I was actually focusing on that shaver box. As we can see, the Honor 6X has a lot more noise, whereas the Moto G5 Plus has a lot less noise in this very low lighting conditions. Another pick in low lighting conditions, and here again the Honor 6X has a lot more noise compared to the Moto G5 Plus, but let's zoom in and see the details. As you can see, the Moto G5 Plus, as it has that f1.7 lens, it can gather simply more light compared to the Honor 6X. Hence, the image is a lot more noisier on the Honor 6X compared to the Moto G5 Plus. Most pictures shot in artificial lighting conditions and in low lighting conditions are generally brighter on the Moto G5 Plus for the simple fact that the Moto G5 Plus has a faster f1.7 lens. When it comes to video, the Moto G5 Plus has electronic image stabilization, where the Honor 6X does not have any stabilization. So if you're going to shoot video and if you're going to move, then clearly the Moto G5 Plus has an edge. As you can clearly see, the video is a lot stable on the Moto G5 Plus compared to the Honor 6X. But when it comes to focusing, again you'll notice that strangely the Honor 6X was able to focus faster compared to the Moto G5 Plus, which was very strange. So again, if you move around the subject too much, then the Moto G5 Plus was slightly slower compared to the Honor 6X in terms of focusing. So in terms of camera, I would say Motorola said that this is the best camera smartphone that you can get in this price range. I would say that's sort of correct, but not totally correct. I would say they should add a star over there. It does a great job in terms of camera performance, but again, it is not the best in every segment, as you have seen from the sample shots. In some areas, I feel the Honor 6X went ahead. Again, I hate the fact that Motorola didn't implement the laser autofocusing system on this, and that was one of the main reasons when I was taking macro shots, I was having sort of difficulty with this Moto G5 Plus. But still, considering the price point and the video performance that we get with this one, I feel the camera performance is one of the best in this price segment. Now let's move to some of the things that I did not like with this Moto G5 Plus. And the first thing that I did not like was the auto brightness sensor. We have the auto brightness sensor. You have to go into the display settings and enable it. But one thing that I did notice is that in outdoor conditions in harsh lighting, the auto brightness sensor sort of works fine. But in artificial lighting like this and indoor lighting conditions, the auto brightness sensor is not very sensitive. And many times I had to actually manually adjust the brightness. Maybe Motorola can fix this with a software update. But as of now, I feel the auto brightness implementation is sort of buggy. Now moving to the speaker, this one has just a single speaker, and that speaker is on the earpiece. I would say it gets the job done, but most of the time when I was using this phone, I was keeping the volume level at max, and I always felt that it should have 1 or 2 levels more of loudness. So that is one thing that I did not like, and I frankly feel Motorola should have implemented dual speaker setup on this one, but sadly it's just a single speaker. But the bonus is as it's a front firing speaker, it's a okay experience, but I frankly felt the speaker should have been slightly louder. Now, many of you have also asked, this one does not have any physical LED notification light, and for notifications and stuff, it relies on the Moto display. So if you don't like Moto display, then you're out of luck. I also feel that these phones should have a physical LED notification light. The Moto display works, I would say. It's a great implementation. But let's say if the phone is just lying about 5 feet away from you, unless you pick up the phone, you won't know if there are any notifications. With the Moto display, you have to pick up the phone to know the notification. So I miss the fact that this one does not have any physical LED notification light. Also, as I mentioned this one earlier also in the where I was talking about the camera, though this phone has that dual pixel autofocus technology, but I don't think so the dual pixels are 100% of the sensor. Hence, that is one of the reasons that in autofocusing, this phone sort of struggles. And I feel Motorola should have implemented laser autofocusing system on this one, because when it comes to macro shots and video, the Moto G4 Plus actually does a better job in autofocusing compared to this Moto G5 Plus. And lastly, I feel for the base variant that comes with 3 gigabytes of RAM, it comes with just 16 gigabytes of internal storage. Come on, Motorola, it's 2017. Just 16 gigabytes of internal storage. The minimum storage should be about 32 GB. So again, and lastly, I feel the pricing also could have been a little bit more aggressive in this price segment. So overall, as you can see, this is a very good overall package, and specifically this is a smartphone for a person for whom camera is the highest priority. So if you are that kind of a person, then you can certainly have a look at this Moto G5 Plus. And the things that I did not like was that it does not implement laser autofocusing system. Hence, in some areas, the autofocusing is a bit slow. And also the dual speaker setup should have been implemented, but nevertheless I would say it's overall a very good smartphone. And if I have to rate this phone out of 10, I would rate it 8.75 out of 10. Again, I have also posted other videos on this Moto G5 Plus. For example, I've answered 25 of the common questions that you guys were having about this Moto G5 Plus. Link for that video will also be there in the YouTube show notes, so make sure you check that out. And guys, so that's it for now for this video. I hope you liked this video review, and if you liked it, I'll appreciate if you can click the like button, and if you're not subscribed to my YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button. Thanks for watching. This is Ranjit, and I hope to see you in my next video.